I'm going to read something really tiny for you from the current issue of The Economist, and I'm going to make sure the link is available for you to read. And it says, Sweden has commissioned research into its boy crises. Australia has devised a reading program called Boys, Blokes, Books and Bites, all in an effort to address the boy crises. So if you're sitting there thinking, it must be a Kenyan issue, it must be an African issue, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I just want to put a cap on this conversation so that we can go into real debate in whatever forum we're going to go into by recounting an event, something that happened about 3 years ago. I was sitting at Zen Garden with a couple of my girlfriends, and they're very much like me. We're very loud. And we were talking about one of the charities we support, having one of those really animated meetings. And of course, as all girls do, you start talking about the guy or lack thereof and what is going on. We didn't realize we were loud enough for a woman who was sitting at a table just to our right, I'll never forget this, to hear us. But she was with somebody, so we didn't think she was paying attention to us at all. But as she was leaving, she came by our table and she says, "You're such wonderful girls." Yes, use that word, girls. "But I couldn't help noticing that you're not married," because she had heard the conversation. And my girlfriend Val looked at her and said, "Did you raise me a husband?" And I'll never forget Elizabeth Gatura. She pulled a chair and she sat down. She said, "Explain." And we're sitting there looking at Val like, "Oh gosh, you crazy woman, what have you gone and done? You opened your big mouth and said stuff we never say loudly." And we got into the conversation of the fact that it is very true. Our mothers, and if you're Catholic like me, from the day a girl comes into the world, her mother is raising a wife. Her mother is raising a mother. Her mother is raising an amazing human being. It's all mothers do. Dress like this, do this, pray, do your work, learn how to cook, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And when you look at the checklist of everything your mother does with you, especially if you're from my generation, you realize she had a checklist of things she wanted to make sure you were. You were organized, you were industrious, you were ambitious, you actually finished everything you started, you understood about praying, you understood what it meant to be a woman and a wife and a great friend and an amazing daughter. So the checklist for us was huge. The problem is, while our mothers were raising us, nobody was raising our equivalent. So back to the question Valentine asked Elizabeth Gatura that day. Did you raise me a husband? And you must remember, a lot of us are not bitter about it. We understand there is a problem. We see it every day. We see it in our friends who either walked out of marriages that were not working or stay in marriages that they complain about every day. And you get to a place where you can't complain about him anymore. What you ask yourself is, given a chance to raise a man, would I do a better job? But you can't run away from the fact that you still find guys who are sitting there saying, "So why aren't you paying for this? And what is she doing with this? And why does she have a big car?" Who told you that my mother was raising somebody who was beneath par? My issue is not that my mother raised an amazing woman. My issue is there was another woman in this very city who wasn't raising an equivalent man. Got that? Okay, subscribe.